Hey folks, this is Bill Murray with Murray Services. We do a lot of heat pump installation for Clayton homes, and this is a thermostat that we're seeing a lot more of being installed in the homes. It's called the ecobee. When the heat pump is installed, many times the power is not on at the house, so the initial setup cannot be done at the time of install. So I'm going to give you a quick tutorial on what it takes to set this up and get it started and up and running. First thing that has to be done is you come to the furnace, pop the lower door off the furnace, check the breakers inside. These breakers need to be to the right. There's two of them, and that turns the furnace on. Then the door will snap right back in place. Second, there's one breaker that will be marked heat pump, usually either a 20 or 30 amp. Then there is usually two that are marked furnace. Sometimes on smaller houses there's only one, but those will also need to be in the on position. That powers your unit and your furnace. When that is all done, the thermostat should light up, telling you to give it just a moment to stretch its wings. Once it comes up, it will ask you a couple of questions that you need to go through with it. Now, the unit that we're putting in here today is a Miller unit. These instructions will work for a Miller on a Clayton home. It will also work with a Goodman or a Train. Several other units this will also work with, but many times we don't see the instructions left in the house, and when they are, they're not real clear because they're not unit specific. So this will be for a Miller, a Goodman, or a Train unit. Will all hook up the same. First tap, let's get started. It will ask you if you have, it only detects the RC terminal is hooked up. Tap yes, that it only requires the RC to be hooked up. And then tap next. This will tell you what wires are hooked up at the time that it's detecting. There will be an RC, a G, a Y1, the O/B, the C, and the W1. It'll ask you also if this is correct. This is what should be hooked up on all of these units that I listed. If all of these are not hooked up, if it does not light up each of these, then you probably need to go ahead and call your installer and have him come out and check the wiring on it. Then tap yes. Do you prefer Fahrenheit or Celsius? Unless you live somewhere besides America, you're probably going to leave that on Fahrenheit. But if you're used to Celsius, go ahead and change it, but then hit next. You are most likely on a mobile home, you're going to be doing air to air and not geothermal. This is the one that gets most people because this is unit specific, and it's not in the directions on how to do this. How is your OB or your reversing valve energized? It is energized in the cooling mode, and like I said, that goes for the Goodman, the Train, and the Miller unit. Also on most carriers, but there are still a few out there that energize on heat. But leave that on cool and then hit next. Allow the heat pump and auxiliary to run simultaneously. Now this is something that is confusing to a lot of people. You want to hit enable. Otherwise, what will happen is when your heat pump is running, it will not be able to turn on your furnace with it to fill the gap. So you want to leave that on enable and then hit next. This configure the compressor minimum outdoor temperature. You don't have an outdoor thermostat and you don't really want to disable. This would be something if you were on a gas furnace. turn that down to about 10, and then hit next. What kind of heating do you have in your home? Do you have a furnace? How do you want your fan to be controlled? Leave that on by the thermostat. Now name the thermostat. This will be something preference that you want to do. I'm going to leave this one on my ecobee. And it's going to get into some of your controls that this is capable of that we're not going to set up right now because this home does not have Wi-Fi on it at the time. So we're going to skip the Wi-Fi. That's something that will be your preference on how to set that up. What is the current mode of your HVAC system? Right now, it's about 40 degrees outside, so we're going to set it on heat. And then what is the ideal temperature during the winter? I'm going to set it on about 72. That's different for each person. We tell people to start on about 72. If that's too cold for you, turn it up a little bit. If it's too warm, turn it down a little bit. That's also a personal preference. And then what is your ideal temperature in the summer? Typically, I like mine on about 73. And there again, that is up to you totally. You're in the United States. We're in East Tennessee, so we're going to stick with the North or the New York time zone. If you're watching this from somewhere else and you need to set it, just set it for whatever time zone you're in. And then it's going to ask you what time it is so you can set the time on it. It is 3:29 p.m. where I'm at right now. So we're going to go ahead and set that. And it is December. The 3rd, 2018, and then hit next. And your ecobee is now ready. Go ahead and hit finish. And then several places you can make changes here. Leave your fan in the on auto position. Set your heat or your system to heat. Fan is in the auto. And then just leave it. Right now where it's calibrating, it's set for heat, and it is set for 72 degrees. Now it takes these units, this thermostat will have a delay on it. The unit will also have a delay on it. So it can take up to 10 to 15 minutes once it goes through its calibrating, and then it goes through its delays that it has. So it can take between 10 and 15 minutes. So during that time, you don't want to touch it. If you change anything on it right now, then what will happen is it resets that timer each time you do it. So that would be a good time to get your paperwork that is left with the unit. Your installer should have left you some paperwork. And this paperwork is for your warranty registration. If you do not register your warranty, then what you will end up with is a 1-year parts and labor. If you register it on most units anymore, and your paperwork that your installer leaves with you will have the pertinent information such as his contact information, the serial numbers of your units, the date installed. It will also leave you with a website to go to or an 800 number usually to do your registration. Now this is Miller's registration warranty, and if you register it, you get 10-year parts, 1-year labor. If you don't register it, then you only get 1 year labor, 1 year parts. So it's worth taking the time right now to register while you're waiting on the system to start up. Now, once the unit comes on, you'll notice that you'll be able to hear that the outside unit is running. You can look at it and see the fan running. That is something that tells you that it is running. If it's not running, be sure and check your breakers again when the inside unit comes on. You should hear a fan running in here, and you should be able to feel air coming out of the registers. This is where your filter is. It takes an 18 by 30 on a intertherm furnace. This pipe right here should start getting really, really warm to the touch. Right now it's starting to get warm. In just a few minutes it should be so hot that you can hold it, but it's a little uncomfortable to hold it. It'll take it a few minutes to get to that point with these higher efficient units. You should feel air coming out of your ductwork. At this time though, this air should feel cool to your body. One of the questions that we get a lot of times is about the cool air in the unit running so much. The air coming out of a heat pump is typically 20 degrees higher than what comes out of your, or what the temperature is in the house. Right now the house is showing that it's 57 degrees. At 57 degrees, the air will only come out at about 77 degrees while it's on heat mode and only the heat pump running. That does not feel warm at all. It will feel cold to you. Oh yeah, it's starting to heat up real nice now. And after it, when it's running and it gets the house up to temperature, which will be 70, you will still only see the temperature coming out of the register at between 85 and 90 degrees, because 15 to 20 is what you expect. And when it does that, then you're going to, it's still going to feel cool to your body, which is a 98.6, and it will take some getting used to for people who've never had a heat pump. Now I want to go over one more thing. If by chance you messed up, you've already started programming this before you did anything on the heat pump or before you watched this video, and you're not sure if you got it in the right positions or not, that's real simple to fix. Hit the menu button, go down to settings. At the bottom of settings, you will see one that says reset. Hit that reset, and when you do, it will take you back to the original factory settings, and then you go through the process that we just went through on the video. Hope this helps you. Hope you'll be able to understand it and get it going, and when you do, I think you'll take a liking to the ecobee and to a heat pump. Thank you very much.